Right now at 10, News 3 Now investigates a Dane County contract, how Urban Triage is defending its founder.
Plus, a local grocery store owner shares his concerns, the way tariffs might impact which aisle shoppers are likely to go down.
And a Wisconsin native helped to get an all-woman crew into outer space, what he says sparked his passion. And thanks for joining us. I'm Eric Franke.
And I'm Sarah Carlson. The board of the local nonprofit Urban Triage says there is nothing wrong with how its founder, Brandy Grayson, has led and received funding from the county.
News 3 Now's Kyle Pozorski reports on what's being said in response to multiple accusations and news reports.
The board of Urban Triage using a press conference to come to the defense of its founder, Brandy Grayson, over some accusations made in the public, as reported by News 3 Now. The president of the nonprofit's board, Dana Pellebon, going to a podium Tuesday.
Good afternoon.
To say the claims of using a loophole and poor contract vetting is false.
These granting organizations, including Dane County Department of Human Services, have not expressed any concerns about service delivery or financial management.
The remarks coming in reaction to an investigative report on channel3000.com, which lays out how the county's Department of Human Services approved funding to Urban Triage, with 2 contracts being amended around the same time they were approved to include more than 6 times the original amount that was agreed on.
What struck me is the addendum, the addition to the contract, was dated before the original contract was signed. I'm like, that's not something I see a lot.
The increased spending did not go to a full county board vote.
I believe that this is waste, fraud, and abuse.
Dane County Supervisor Jeff Wygand is one of just a few who have publicly come out to ask for transparency on how this or other funds were allocated and spent.
If we do an audit of Urban Triage, a deep forensic audit, then we can really truly find out if this organization is operating and complying with all state, federal, and county requirements.
Pellebon says Wygand and others providing statements and information to the media are spreading misinformation.
There is a group of individuals who have waged a multi-year harassment campaign against Brandy Grayson.
Pellebon also making clear that she believes the scrutiny on Grayson is an attack on black womanhood and black organizations. Reporting on Madison's South Side, Kyle Pozorski, News 3 Now.
Kyle, thanks. If you'd like to read the full investigative report, just head to our website, channel3000.com.
Well, it has been a breezy couple of days here in the Madison area, but will this let up? Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington joins us with the answer. I think that is yes.
The definitive yes, the winds will ease up. They're actually starting to ease up as we speak right now, which is always super good news. It's been such a windy period. Windy fall, windy winter, windy start to spring. These are some of those max wind gusts today. Look at that, 45 miles per hour if you look off to the west. Prairie du Chien 32 in Madison, 37 in Janesville. So nonetheless, the winds will cease as we look at future track wind gust model here, bringing us wind gusts down to 5 to 10 miles per hour at most. So much improvement as we go into Wednesday. And it will stay winds on the light side throughout the day on Wednesday. As we get a little bit further into the future and head into Thursday, there are all the colors come back again. Strong winds out of the south and southeast out ahead of our next weather maker. But let's enjoy the Wednesday stuff first. Temperatures up near 60 degrees for a high temperature, mid-50s over portions of central Wisconsin up towards Camp Douglas and our friends in Baraboo. And we turn our attention after the temperatures cool on down tonight and warm on up on Wednesday to that storm chance as we get towards Thursday and Friday. We got 42s, 43s across Dane County, and those rain chances are pretty high Thursday going into Friday. The latest on the potential for severe weather with that Thursday, Friday weather system, that's coming up.
Alex, thank you. Stoughton police say a 19-year-old man shot yesterday is in stable condition. A little before 1:30 in the afternoon, officers were called to East Main Street for a report that a man had been shot. Police say the man was shot in the face while sitting in the front passenger seat at another location. The car's driver then fled to the scene, stopping there at East Main Street. An investigation into the shooting is ongoing. No one has been arrested.
The Janesville Police Department is warning residents about a law enforcement impersonation scam. Officers say scammers are disguising their calls to look like they're coming from a law enforcement phone number. Victims report being told they have a warrant out for their arrest or owe money for a ticket. They are then pressured to immediately make a payment using cryptocurrency, gift cards, or even leaving cash at a designated location. Residents who receive a call are advised to hang up immediately and please report this to the Rock County Communication Center.
NVIDIA is working to produce AI supercomputers entirely in the United States. The company announced plans to build manufacturing space in Arizona, also in Texas. NVIDIA's Blackwell chips have started production at plants in Phoenix. Meanwhile, The company is building a supercomputer factory in Houston, also in Dallas. NVIDIA says it plans to produce up to $500 billion of AI infrastructure in the U.S. within the next 4 years. Canadians have long been the top international travelers to the U.S., but now they may be looking elsewhere for vacations. According to the U.S. Travel Association, advanced flight bookings by Canadians are down 70%. Some business owners say reasons given for recent cancellations include unfavorable exchange rates, President Trump's tariffs, and also his 51st state taunts.
They don't like the political climate. They feel like the president is insulting them.
How he's treating our beloved country, Canada. I have decided to abandon the plans for now, and maybe my future travels to the U.S. as well.
And Canada is the top source for international tourists, generating $20 billion in spending.
Well, as the federal government continues to announce, enact, pause, and delay tariffs, both business owners and consumers are left in limbo.
Our Maddie Heims reports on those impacted right here in Madison.
Here at Fresh Mart in Madison, groceries are organized by region. So the impact of tariffs on your food could just depend on the aisle you're shopping in.
We have from Europe, Eastern Europe, Asian, Indian, Pakistani, Middle Eastern, Mediterranean, African, Caribbean, Latina, Hispanic, all kind of food.
Yashar Tayerev and his wife have been running their family-owned international supermarket for years, but opened their new location on University Avenue just last March.
It's especially good for students, for international students. They can come here and find out his own food from back home.
He says as a business that serves college students, prices are always top of mind.
We try to do lower price grocery. For students, they have to save money for apartment rent, for other stuff, insurance, car insurance, for other stuff, for school.
But with uncertain tariffs looming,
But never know, because maybe after 5 months, they're going to change mind. They say, no more tariff.
he worries about competing with large grocery chains that have more options when it comes to offsetting unexpected costs.
It's going to impact all sellers, but I do think it's going to be harder for your small businesses to kind of navigate.
UW-Madison consumer science professor Cliff Robb says uncertainty is the biggest detriment to economic growth.
It's not firm what tariffs will go into place and when. And so I think consumers are mainly just doing a lot of buying with not really having a lot of information.
But Yashar tells me one thing is always certain.
A lot of good people, like locally, friends, they want to support, they want to come to help you.
Reporting in Madison, I'm Maddie Heimsch, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Maddie. At the state capitol, a new bill could make gun safes exempt from Wisconsin's sales tax. This latest bill was introduced this year, coming in the wake of the Abundant Life school shooting in Madison. But local gun stores are wondering how much those tax exemptions will really make a difference. For example, on a $2,300 safe, it would mean a savings of $126. The bill has bipartisan support and is similar to a bill introduced by Democrats last year. And some Wisconsin Republicans are proposing a bigger budget for security at the 2025 NFL Draft. Representatives David Steffen and Ben Franklin proposed a budget bill that would give $1.25 million to draft day security. That would go to Green Bay area first responders. Separately, Democratic Governor Tony Evers included $1 million for the city of Green Bay in his state budget proposal.
Dozens of people marched on UW-Milwaukee's campus to protest the revocation of student visas across the country. 13 current and former students at the school had their visas revoked. The names of those whose visas were revoked have not been released, and the federal government has not given a reason why. That uncertainty is fueling fear.
It has been scary waking up every morning and having to think that my peers and myself are under attack.
It feels like as a brown man, this campus don't care for me or my people or other people.
UW-Milwaukee says it played no role in these revocations or terminations. UW-Oshkosh has a new leader today. The Universities of Wisconsin Board of Regents announced Dr. Manohar Singh will be the university's next chancellor. He is currently serving as interim president at Western Connecticut State University. Singh will become the school's 12th leader, succeeding Andrew Levitt, who had led the school since 2014, and Singh's first day is July 1st.
The Madison Common Council is seeing a changing of the guard after the spring election. 7 seats turned over today. That includes District 18, bringing the contentious previous term of Charles Miadze to an end and the term of Carmela Glenn to a beginning. She says she is looking ahead to the future of District 18, and so are the residents who live there.
What happens inside of systems, they're not real interested. There were a lot of great things that got done by the former alder as far as projects, and so hopefully to step into those and make sure they come to fruition.
Glenn adds that she wants to focus on food access and parks. Miadze did not show up in person or virtually to what would have been his final council meeting.
A Chippewa Falls native helped engineer that Blue Origin rocket that launched yesterday. Rob Bilal is part of a team of 6 who make sure the reusable rockets are ready to go again. But he didn't always dream of space and rockets. It wasn't actually until a class he took at Chippewa Valley Technical College that he found a passion for physics.
Instructor there, Mary Purvis, that I really loved. She was inspired me to get into physics. She was really cool and had a lot of information, and she basically just could explain the universe in ways where I'm like, that's so cool that you can explain why rainbows exist, through just pure science.
Monday's launch was Blue Origin's 11th human flight.
Now coming up at 10, former President Joe Biden makes his return to the national stage.
And a U.S. senator prepares to go to El Salvador. This as the Trump administration continues to defend the mistaken deportation of a Maryland man.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
Welcome back, everyone. An iconic radio and TV entertainer has died.
Today, beloved host Wink Martindale passed away in Rancho Mirage, California at the age of 91. According to a representative, he died surrounded by family. Martindale became the king of the television game show era when he signed his first contract back in the 1960s. He hosted or produced 21 game shows, including Tic-Tac-Dough, Gambit, and High Rollers. A cause of death for Wink Martindale was not released. The Trump administration continues to maintain that the mistaken deportation of a Maryland man to El Salvador was justified.
Reporter Erica Brown has more as a federal judge criticizes the administration's lack of action.
As President Trump welcomed members of the Navy football team to the White House Tuesday, his administration's legal battle over the Maryland father mistakenly deported intensified. A federal judge admonished the Department of Justice Tuesday for doing, quote, nothing to arrange the return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who was mistakenly deported to a prison in El Salvador last month, and what administration officials called a clerical error. Protesters outside the Maryland courthouse demanded his return, and Abrego Garcia's wife accused the Trump administration of playing political games with his life.
Our family is torn apart during this scary time, and our children miss their dad so much.
Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen said he's requested to meet with Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele. Bukele said during a White House visit Monday that he had no intention of returning Abrego Garcia to the U.S.
I believe that the president of El Salvador will reconsider when he understands the full story.
The Trump administration maintains the deportation to a Salvadoran prison was justified, though Abrego Garcia was never charged with a crime.
Based on the sensationalism of many of the people in this room, you would think we deported a candidate for Father of the Year.
The president also escalated his battle with Harvard University after his administration Monday announced a freeze on more than $2 billion in grants when the university refused to comply with a series of administration demands to change campus policy. President Trump suggested Tuesday that Harvard lose its tax-exempt status and be taxed as a political entity. Erica Brown, CBS News, the White House.
And former President Joe Biden made his first major public appearance since leaving the White House in January. During a speech in Chicago, the former president warned that President Trump and congressional Republicans are gutting Social Security, threatening at least 73 million Americans who currently receive benefits. The agency has recently cut at least 7,000 jobs, reducing response times both online and by phone.
The IRS is shrinking once again. Roughly 22,000 employees are accepting the Trump administration's deferred resignation. Today was the deadline to accept the buyout, and it resulted in a 25% reduction in the workforce. This was the second time the offer was made to IRS employees. Former officials with the IRS have said major cuts to the agency could lead to problems, including collecting less federal government revenue.
Well, the winds are already easing up here in southern Wisconsin, but now thunderstorms on the horizon.
Alex is back with more on this late week weather system he's watching.
Yep, spring in Wisconsin. Here we go. Nice Wednesday, though. First, we got some good stuff in the forecast, but then those thunderstorm chances Thursday going on into Friday. And I don't like to be the bearer of bad news, but Easter Sunday is looking a bit on the wet side. We'll capture that weather system after we talk about this first weather system Thursday going into Friday first. Latest weather models are projecting a warm front lifting through the area as we go on into Thursday. Strong south winds, some scattered thunderstorms throughout the afternoon hours, and then as we go into Thursday evening, a couple more scattered thunderstorms as well, especially pressing up towards Juneau, Adams, Marquette, and Green Lake counties. But we all stand the chance of seeing scattered thunderstorms Thursday evening going into Thursday night. Some of those storms could have some small hail. Then as we go into Thursday overnight, a continuation of scattered thunderstorms. We may have a brief break followed by more thunderstorms as we approach that Friday morning time frame. This is the period that we're really keeping an eye out for the potential for severe weathers as we go later Friday, late morning into the early to mid-afternoon hours. We're keeping an eye on a cold front that will be sweeping through southern Wisconsin. And as I've been saying now for at least 2, maybe 3 days, the timing of that front is key. As we get to 4:30, that front is lining up from Janesville up to Watertown, up to east central Wisconsin. And that would mean that the better chances for thunderstorms trying to reform would be south and east towards the Elkhorn area down into northern Illinois. And that would mean the silver lining for southern Wisconsin that we'd miss out on that severe weather redevelopment on Friday, which would be a good thing. Also a good thing here, showers and those thunderstorms anywhere between 1/4 to 1/2 inch of water widespread across southern Wisconsin with that weather system. Recap, there is that threat of a strong storm Thursday night. Marginally severe hail would be the threat Thursday night, Friday. Again, that timing may help to limit and reduce the severe weather threats, which I want to underline would be a good thing for southern Wisconsin. We don't need the severe weather. And following our wet weather maker Thursday going on into Friday, big wet weather maker as we go towards Easter Sunday. If you have any Easter plans outdoors planned on Sunday, I would consider you might want to do Saturday. Here's why. Widespread showers all the way through Saturday. Look at all that green. I don't think we're going to get much in the way of a mix here. This will likely all stay in the form of water and plenty of it. And we'll take that water, again, because we are still experiencing drought conditions across southern Wisconsin. Widespread 1-2 inches of water between the Thursday-Friday system and the Sunday system. We'll take the water, just no severe weather, and we shouldn't get any severe weather on Sunday. Current temperatures out there right now, low to mid 40s across a good portion of the area. Here in Dane County, we got a spattering of 42s and 43s out there, and a nice Wednesday, like I said, is in store. Temperatures in the upper 50s, sunny skies, light winds for a change. I'll emphasize that. There's that Easter Sunday rain potential, and we'll end our weather on a pretty note here. Thank you so much, Don, for sending us this sunrise photo. Wanakee. How about that?
Oh, looks beautiful.
Isn't that pretty?
Yeah, thank you, Alex.
Keep those pictures coming, folks.
Yes, indeed.
Zach?
And coming up in sports, well, the Brooms were out in Middleton. How the Madcaps swept the Gamblers. That's next on News 3 Now. Last Thursday, Kevin Haywood left spring practice early with an apparent knee injury. And today, Luke Fickell confirmed what the Badgers were dreading. His starting left tackle tore his ACL. Haywood is scheduled to have surgery and will more than likely miss the entire season. So with a starting spot open on the offensive line, it's a next man up mentality in Madison.
One that's going to be really difficult and tough, but you know, it's also a part of the game. We've been fortunate up front in the last 2 seasons to, you know, have those guys prepared and be able to last through the season. You know, and now we got to have to figure out how we're going to manage some of that and move some guys around and expect some other guys to step up.
The Bucks begin the playoffs on Saturday in Indianapolis, and as expected, they'll be without Damian Lillard. ESPN is reporting that he'll miss the start of the postseason. Lillard has been sidelined since March 18th. When asked if there was any possibility he'll play in the first round, Doc Rivers said, quote, "We're hopeful." Better news, Wisconsin women's basketball has added a big-time forward from the transfer portal. Gift Uchenna is coming to Madison after averaging a double-double last year at Southern Illinois. She was the nation's second leading rebounder and ranked 25th in the country in blocks. Game 2 between the Brewers and Tigers. Remember, Game 1 was one to forget. Well, this would help that. Second inning, Rhys Hoskins brought his big bat up to the batter's box. His first homer of the year goes 440 feet to center. That puts the Crew on the board, and the Brewers get the win, 5-0, the final. On the ice we go. Madcaps looking to win their series against the Gamblers in advance in the Clark Cup playoffs. First period, already up 1-0. Igor Barabanov dangles and then goes top shelf where Mama keeps those cookies to make it a 2-goal game. And the Madcaps weren't done lighting that lamp. Later in the period, Mason Moe gonna put the biscuit in the basket, and the Capitals sweep the Gamblers to move on to the conference semifinals with a 5-3 win. And the Badgers were shining on the big stage again at the Women's World. Second period, Caroline Harvey sends a snipe in the back of the net to light the lamp to make it a 4-point game. Fellow Badger Hillary Knight had the assist, which was her 50th of her career, breaking the Women's World's assist record. The U.S. advances to Thursday's quarterfinals, where they'll face Germany. We'll be right back.
Well, coming up on News 3 Now this morning, letting out those pent-up emotions. Oh, look at this. The morning crew will look at the unique stress relief facility in Fitchburg designed for blowing off some steam.
We should have a room like that here. The most well-known maritime disaster took place 113 years ago today. This is News 3 file footage. The sinking of the RMS Titanic. It was on its maiden voyage, of course, when it struck an iceberg in the North Atlantic just before midnight, April 14, 1912, and sank hours later on April 15th.
And the wreck was discovered in 1985, about 350 nautical miles off the Canadian coast of Newfoundland. Most of the ship remains in its final resting place on the ocean floor, roughly 12,000 feet below the surface.
Alex is back as we take one final check of the forecast.
Yes, we turn our attention after a nice Wednesday to a rainy Thursday going on into Friday. There'll be some dry time as well. Keeping an eye out for the potential for severe weather. Right now, we think that severe weather potential is going to be low. Thursday's severe weather potential mostly to the southwest. Friday's severe weather potential mostly to the southeast, but we're keeping a close eye on that. Then another weather maker Sunday going into Monday. That's not a severe weather maker. That is a heavy rain maker. We could be looking at some decent amounts of water on Easter Sunday. We'll take the water. We need that water. But again, the good stuff here, folks, if my clicker will actually work. There we go. 58 on Wednesday. Enjoy that nice sunny day. Light winds before the rain moves in. Thursday, Friday, going on into the Sunday time frame.
The weather team really needs one of those venting rooms, the way this weather's been so up and down. Alex, thanks. Thanks for joining us for News 3 Now at 10.
Have a good night.